It's sad to say it, but the N64 Mario Party days are over, and with that, we have to move on to the next generation of consoles and games. So, welcome to the Gamecube saga of Mario Party, and what may well be the last set of Mario Party titles for this series, since, well, Wii and Switch titles are either hard to emulate, or I just don't have capture cards to record them directly. And trust me, I've considered doing DS and 3DS titles though, so I mean there's that. Regardless, this isn't Super Mario Party, or Mario Party 10. And so, with that being said, it's time to tell you about the best looking Mario Party title on the GameCube. It's recommended as one of the best in the franchise, and is actually pretty intense on hard. And I'm going to tell you all of this by winning Mario Party 4 on the hardest board and AI. Before we begin, I gotta play some cards, so that we're all on the same page here. Number 1, I'm not planning to use any kind of special items and or benefits, as I'm just trying to keep this game as vanilla as possible. Secondly, the way I choose what kind of board I play for this series is not based on the difficulty shown in-game. Instead, I take to the internet, looking for the community's... well, it was really divided this time around, with a lot of people saying things like Bowser's Gnarly Party, and Goomba's Greedy Gala, and Toad's Midway Madness. So in this case, I chose on my own behalf, based on the gimmicks that were, in my opinion, the hardest to deal with, which would later lead to Boo's Haunted Bash. Third, I'm only going to be doing a 20-turn game, both A, for the sake of time constraints, but also B, that this is what I would assume that most people are going to be playing Mario Party as, unless if you're insane and doing 50 turns. Lastly, if you've seen the 3 previous episodes in the series, the characters are still the same. I will be Mario, and the AIs will be Peach, Wario, and Donkey Kong. And with that, let's get into the brief explanation as to what makes Boo's Haunted Bash not necessarily the hardest board, but it's the worst in terms of the gimmicks, and how that plays into effect. To be real, Boo's Haunted Bash is actually pretty standard. You got Boo chilling off to the right side of the board, as well as a couple different shops. There's a lottery at the top so you can get the chances of free money, a few interesting coin spots to get some extra coins, 2 whole happening spaces, yes, there's only 2 on the entire board, and this pink Boo. Every time somebody passes this particular pink Boo, you'll notice that all of the pink holographical bridges scattered across the map will either disappear or reappear. Now, the worst part here is that A, these can lead to other areas. Like, for example, you have to go across one to get to Boo, or for example, you have to go through one in order to get to a special coin place. However, stars also spawn in areas that are only accessible via these bridges, so it does play into effect that you can get screwed over and get cut out of a star. There's also these introductions of tiny pipes, which can only be entered while using a mini mushroom. It's not terrible, but how these gimmicks work together is what makes it terrible. But I think with that out of the way, let's get right into the game. Turn 1 started slow. Thankfully, I rolled second out of all 4 of us, so therefore I had some leeway. Since the star was, well, conveniently placed behind a tiny pipe, I had some time to plan how I wanted this to all go down. I immediately did get that mini mushroom I needed though, so pretty good start. Our first minigame of the game is a lucky game, which basically is a coin game that can be worth double or triple the amount of coins. This time we got cliffhangers. Just like the cliffhanger I'm gonna leave you with literally every video that I make. I genuinely sucked at this game, since there was a very slight amount of input lag going on. Regardless, it being so early in the game, obviously, I wasn't too worried. Turn 2, I bite the bullet and lost 3 coins. Then Peach used her big mushroom and stole literally the entire government from the rest of the game, giving her the early coin lead. She isn't going for the star, which is a rather interesting move, but hey, it's Peach, whatever floats your boat. DK also deciding to use his mini mushroom now instead of, say, next turn. I guess his AI would have assumed he would have rolled past it, but I don't really know. The minigame, Blame It on the Crane, was odd in terms of the perspective you had to use in order to use the crane, but once I got the hang of the controls, I took my first victory. Turn 3, I prayed to roll low, and to my surprise, I actually got it. Thank you, Mario Party gods. I also got another mini mushroom, so I at least knew that there was no way I was not gonna get into that pipe. Peach, for whatever reason, buying a magic lamp because, of course. DK also jumped to Wario for some reason. So now that star was basically mine. I had the mini mushrooms and I was the only one closest to it. Our next minigame, Candlelight Flight, is odd since the candle's hitbox is a little off. But with hard AIs, we pulled out a smooth victory. Turn 4, I then used my mini mushroom, and I rolled a whopping 3. This nabbed me a small coin minigame to play, with a piano for some reason, and allowing me to collect my first star of the game. The next star went right over here, completely away from everyone. Awesome job, game. Peach would immediately use that magic lamp to get said star, putting her into first place. And our next star went here, and you quite literally had to go through a holographic bridge to get to the side of the board needed to reach that path. So it was gonna be a while. Our minigame then, Slime Time, was quite literally a button mashing game. And I'm not entirely sure if I just got really good at button mashing or if the AIs just decided to crap themselves on the spot, but I actually won. Turn 5, Wario bought this mini Mega Hammer for some reason, and I would go visit the lottery, and what would happen next is pretty magical. Yes, I won the full 100 coins, a super rare chance, mind you. However, I was about to lose quite literally every single piece of it, because I didn't know that I would land on a Bowser space, and Koopa Kid would take 20 of my coins. Okay, not a big deal. But then, without realizing it, Bowser showed up and dropped his balls in my face, and decided to play a minigame, called Bowser's Balloon. whatever the heck, I can't remember the name right now. And then the previously mentioned input lag decided to screw me over when I was trying to ground pound the balloon, and I ended up getting flamed and losing all of my coins. Yeah, not a good look for your boy. However, this did fully secure the coin lead, so at least that's cool. Our actual minigame then, Money Belts, helped out a little bit since both A, it was a coin minigame, and I ended up making back around 30 coins from my net losings, so it could be a lot worse. On turn 6, Wario gets on the Mystery Train, something that you quite literally cannot skip nor say no to if the holographic bridges are currently not visible. He goes to the right side of the board and fails to get the star since, well, he's broke. I roll only to get thrown into Wario, or in this case 3 staces back. Good job, game. DK also gets thrown to Peach as well. Sort of a good fix, I guess. Our minigame then, Domination, was, well, a button mashing game. And I almost got the victory, but DK barely took it from me. Only just. I rolled an incredibly massive and insane 7, and got literally nowhere. DK would use his magic lamp this turn and secure his first star of the game. The next star would head right here, again behind a conveniently placed holographic bridge, god dang it. Psych! A battle minigame is happening, with 35 coins on the line, in the minigame Trace Race, which was rather close, but sadly I actually came third in this one. But also for whatever reason, the game wasn't actually loading the marker tracings properly, so therefore it was a little difficult to figure out exactly who was winning. So good job, emulator, very cool. Our actual minigame then, Manta Rings, was also weird, since it had water physics. And water physics are terrible. Luckily, I did pretty well here, and took some victories. Turn 8, well, the script doesn't say who bought a magic lamp, so some person bought a magic lamp. Good lord, I'm getting vibes from Mario Party 3 with these lamps. I mean, like, come on. I roll a whopping 9, and get another item. This time, it's a mini mushroom, because I have a mini mushroom. Our minigame, Goal! Yep, that's a name. Was weird, since aiming this soccer ball was way linear and confusing than I was expecting. Wario took the win here, because apparently I can't play soccer. Turn 9, I rolled a massive 10, and got to purchase a swap card, which basically just allowed me to swap items with a random player. And since I couldn't buy a magic lamp, I'll just hold on to this for whenever I'm going to need it most. Peach, for some reason, also buys a warp pipe, because I guess she wants her pipes cleaned, I guess, I have no idea. DK also buys a mega mushroom, which is pretty sensible, considering he's broke, but I'm just kind of curious what he's going to use it for. Our minigame then was a lucky minigame, and it's worth double coins, with that minigame being fish and drips. And I quite literally failed instantly. since I guess I either just decided to map the buttons wrong, and L and R were registering as bumpers, and not triggers. So, that's a shame. On turn 10, Wario used that magic lamp to get his first star of the game. And the next star would spawn literally on top of DK, right in front of me and Peach. Good job, placement game. Very cool. Wario would also steal coins from Peach here. He actually stole just enough so that Peach couldn't afford the star. Good job, Wario. You may have actually helped me for once. I then went to this location change, or whatever the heck we're going to call it, and got Wario. How sad. DK then rolls double fours and gets 10 free coins. Good job, DK. Very cool. Our minigame then, Order Up, was pretty straightforward. Although I was pressing A on certain boxes and the game was just like, no. Me and DK ended up cleaning house here, although DK primarily did all the work. Turn 11, marking the halfway point of the game, and Wario would use that mini Mega Mushroom on DK. Okay, then, sure. Good roll. Nice. Peach would end up going to see Boo, and taking some coins from DK. And because I was around 3rd, 4th place around this time, I actually was basically under the radar, so that was pretty dope if I wanted to set up stuff for later in the endgame. She would then land on a Bowser's base and lose 15 coins. Pretty dope. DK then rolls and he lands on a happening space. But note, this is the only time in the entire game that someone's gonna land on a happening space. Our next minigame then, Tree Stomp, was offsetting, since the controls to change directions were also kinda flaky. Peach was also completely stupid and ran into me, which gave us our victory. On turn 12, Wario managed to score a mini mushroom, and I rolled a whopping 9. Pretty dope. Peach ended up using that warp pipe to warp with me, sending me back to the start. I'm not entirely sure why she did this, but it's whatever, I guess. But then, she lands on another location jump space thing, and lands on me again, making that entire warp pipe ordeal completely useless. And that's Mario's wife, everybody. Take a look there. DK would then use this mini mushroom with what I'm going to assume was to try to get a second happening space. But it didn't happen. Our next minigame, Hop or Pop, would come next, and I quite literally bite the dust immediately. The controls weren't hard at all, but the input lag just ended up getting the best of me. Luckily, Wario and DK over here were acting like total bros over here and managed to get the victory. On turn 13, Wario used that mini mushroom. For some reason, I'm not really sure as to why. And then I rolled a whopping 2. Good job. Peach, for some reason, decided to kiss me on the way by and left to head to the shop and bought a swap card. And our next minigame would then be Paratrooper Plunge. It was a coin collecting game. But literally everybody died in the process because apparently these paratroopers are out for blood. I mean, I still got some coins though, so that's always a plus. On turn 14, I debated on if I wanted to use my swap card or not, and I chose not to. And then immediately after, Peach would use her swap card. God dang it. Luckily, it didn't really do nothing since it landed on Wario, and Wario didn't have any items. DK would then go and steal a star from Peach. An odd decision, I'll admit it, but to be honest, maybe it's possible to be a cushion for the minigame star, since to be honest, I had no idea who even had it at that time. Speaking of minigame, the next minigame, Take a Breather, was definitely an interesting concept, and I won by button mashing better than an AI. On turn 15, I rolled an insane 1. Our minigame, yes, this turn was that short, is Toad's Quick Draw. Basically just a reaction test. And, well, because my reaction test times are absolute dog crap, Peach would end up winning this. Turn 16 marked the last 5 turns, and what better way to cause some last-minute chaos by Peach making it so that every red space on the board was a chance time space. Good job, Peach, we're gonna cause some chaos right before the end. Wario then immediately buys a magic lamp, but also he immediately lands on a chance time space, or in this case, as Mario Party 4 calls it, a reversal of fortune space. Whatever that means. Luckily, it didn't involve me. It was primarily just Wario and Peach swapping coins. But even then, it wasn't even much of a loss since they were either gaining or losing 7 coins. So it just meant like it was worthless. I then used my swap card and got DK. It was unfortunate, since I was hoping for Wario. But it's funny that we're basically not swapping items. We both have the same items. It's funny. I then rolled an impressive 8, and made the brave choice to buy an item bag. And I actually ended up getting a magic lamp and a chomp call out of it. Note that a chomp call does not actually call a chomp to steal stars. It's basically the twister of this game where you can move the star space. So in the end, the item bag was worth it, even if it cost 30 coins. DK would use the mushrooms he got for something. I just kind of questioned his choice, to be honest with you. Our next minigame then, Making Waves, was actually pretty dope, and it also just shows how gorgeous this game looks. Unfortunately, we lost this, but god dang, this game was impressive, at least in the graphical department, for its time. On turn 17, Wario used his magic lamp even though he is right in front of the star. I guess maybe his AI was like that he was gonna roll, he was gonna get the star, and then maybe he would like lose money to get the next one. I'm not sure. I'm just saying it's a stupid move to use the lamp when you're literally a space in front of it. Just saying. The next star would go into an area that can only be accessible by a bridge. Good job, game. Wario then took a ride on this train, because trains go brr. Wario would also steal my coins for some reason. Reasons. I figured that around this time that I would just use my magic lamp and get the stars, since the chomp call wasn't really gonna help me that much, unless if it was something dire. When it came to my turn, I then used my lamp and got my second star of the game. and the next star would go right here, so it was in the path of a couple of people. I then chose not to buy anything from the shop and landed on a chance time space. Luckily, it wasn't anything that affected me. DK ended up getting to play the piano because, you know, of course. And then our minigame was Book Squirm, which was basically just to not get squished. But then we all get squished because of reasons, and that is how Paper Mario was born.
Finish. Draw.
On turn 18, I started to wonder what the bonus stars were looking like, since we only had 3 turns left. I at least knew that DK had the Happening Star, and I had the Coin Star. Yet, I was still completely unsure as to how the minigame star was doing. But first, I landed on the throwing space thing, and landed on Wario. I was taking one last shot for the star, so let's see if I can get there. Peach then showed up and stole some of DK's money, because, you know, he was kind of winning, you know, it doesn't make sense. DK would then roll a whopping 4, and doesn't win the lottery. Thank God. The minigame, Hide and Go Boom, was straightforward, but we won thanks to Peach. It's literally the only good thing that she's done so far.
Finish.
On turn 19, Wario used his mushroom to literally become a big chungus. He then passed the star, so I don't know if that was his plan or if he was trying to roll low enough to get us as well as get the star. I'm not entirely sure. I then rolled a whopping 8 and chose to skip the item shop. And then I got sent to Wario, so unfortunately, no star for me. Peach then bought a super mushroom for some reason. DK would also use his mushroom for some reason. I'm honestly questioning you guys' choices, like, Jesus Christ. Our minigame then, Avalanche, was next, and while it's technically a button masher, it's also not at the same time. I ended up hitting a rock and lost, but since Wario won, well, I wasn't really sure who had the minigame lead at that point, so I was worried.
Gotta win.
Turn 20 marked the final turn, and we of course needed a final turn chance time. Although this one was once again with Wario and Peach as the victims, the outcome was pretty funny. Instead, Wario legit just lost all of his stars to Peach. It was going so well, man. Like, why did you do it, man? Like, jeez, like, stop it. Get some help. I then used my Chomp Call to move the star space, in the event that someone rode the mystery train or something like that, or was managed to get to the star. Luckily, nobody was going to get the next star since it was in a place that nobody could get to. I then rolled a final hurrah of 7, and rode the mystery train to my final destination. Peach would then use her super mushroom to go, I guess, distance, I'm gonna guess. And with that, our final minigame is 3 throw. And I figured that I was going to need to win this minigame in the event that the minigame star was on the line here. Luckily, me and Peach ended up tying for the win. And with the final minigame over, let's get to the bonuses. Let's kick off with the minigame star, and to my actual surprise, it was actually me. And yes, that's a shock. I also knew that the coin star was going to be me guaranteed, and that the happening star was going to DK for his one space. So naturally, if I got two bonus stars, that only means one thing. Yeah, I actually won. But it was actually when I checked the results that I understood as to why I had won. Had I not won the last minigame, DK would have actually gotten the minigame star by a single coin. So in reality, this game was incredibly close. And if I had not won that last minigame and done some of the things I had done throughout this game, it's possible that DK could have taken it from me. So, Jesus, this was close. In the end, I took home victory in Mario Party 4. And to be honest, this game felt way easier compared to the N64 titles from the previous entries in this series. More simply due to the fact that it was actually a lot easier to predict what was coming. I was ending up using my items a lot better than more since I've learned over the course of these last few episodes, and overall, I'm able to predict what the AI is doing and what kind of outcomes are going to be coming. So I guess it's a good thing. Overall, this has had to be one of the closest and intense games so far in this series, and I'm honestly shocked that I ended up taking victory here. So, with that, I won Mario Party 4 on the hardest board and AI, and now I leave you with, well, the normal outro, since this game doesn't really have any peaceful menu music or something like Mario Party 3. My name is PandaPowerSauce, remember to stay saucy, and I'll see you again in the next episode in Mario Party 5. Later!